In a small village located between rolling hills and lush green forests, there lived a little boy named Hans. Hans was known throughout the village for being very smart and quick thinking. He was always full of ideas to solve problems both big and small. One sunny morning, as Hans was playing in the village square, he overheard a group of villagers talking about a problem. "Our fields are very dry, and our crops are dying," one villager said sadly. "We need water to save our harvest, but the nearest well is too far away." Hans listened carefully, his mind already thinking of ideas. He spoke up. "I have an idea. Why don't we dig a trench from the river to the fields? That way, we can move water directly to our crops." The villagers looked at each other in amazement. "But Hans," they exclaimed, "the river is too far away, and digging a trench would take days." Hans just grinned mischievously. "Leave it to me," he said confidently. With the villagers' agreement, Hans set off on his quest. But instead of grabbing a shovel and starting to dig himself, Hans had a clever plan. He knew that digging a trench wouldn't be much fun for him, so he decided to make it fun for someone else. Hans gathered the village children, his friends and playmates, and convinced them that digging a trench would be the most exciting adventure they'd ever had. With his persuasive talking and catchy enthusiasm, he painted a picture of a grand expedition, full of treasure hunts and secret tunnels waiting to be discovered. The children's eyes lit up with excitement, and soon they were clamoring to join Hans on his quest. Armed with temporary shovels and buckets, they set off for the river, giggling and chatting excitedly as they went. As they reached the riverbank, Hans stood back and watched with amusement as the children eagerly began to dig. With each scoop of earth, their laughter grew louder, and their spirits soared higher. They were having so much fun that they didn't even realize they were doing all the work. Hours passed, and the trench slowly took shape under the children's eager hands. They dug with excitement, fueled by the thrill of the adventure, and the promise of hidden treasures just waiting to be unearthed. Finally, as the sun began to dip below the horizon, the trench was complete. The children cheered with triumph, their faces red with excitement and pride. They had done it. They had dug a trench all the way from the river to the village fields. The next morning, the villagers awoke to a sight they could hardly believe. Water flowed freely through the trench, feeding the thirsty earth and reviving the drooping crops. Cheers of joy rang out through the village as the villagers marveled at Hans' cleverness and the children's hard work. From that day on, Hans was hailed as a hero in the village. His cleverness and quick thinking had saved the harvest and brought joy to the hearts of all who lived there. And though Hans never took a single scoop of dirt himself, he knew that sometimes, the greatest victories come not from the strength of our muscles, but from the power of our minds and the kindness in our hearts. As days turned into weeks, the field flourished like never before. Vibrant vegetables and golden grains swayed gently in the breeze, transforming the landscape into a mosaic of colors and textures.